So here's the deal. First off, definitely was not a ghost. That's number one. Number two is I'm also 100% sure it was a ghost.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next performer coming to the stage has over 15 years of comedy under his belt. You may know him by the laughter erupting out of comedy clubs across the nation in his wake. You may know him as Death on America's Got Talent and the television series Death Lives. Give it up for Erick Hellwig!
Is it okay that I don't believe in ghosts, by the way?
Yeah, dude, because I'm on the fence too. But if there's one thing I've learned by doing this is that everyone has an experience where they wonder. And if you keep looking to find something, you will find something and it will keep you up at night.
Yeah, that's what, Liz actually always says it really well. She goes, there's enough to make me wonder, not enough to make me believe. And I always thought that was like a really smart way of putting it, where it's like, just don't fuck with it. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But that said, like, I think my story is like kind of, it's pretty dumb. I might be the dumbest person you've had on the show.
Well, as a comedian, that's not a bad precedent.
yeah, exactly. By the way, do you live in Warrenton?
Just outside of Warrenton, actually.
Okay, so I'm from Northern Virginia. So I went to school up near DC, and then I went to college in Newport News, which is down by like the Richmond, Hampton Tidewater area. It felt pretty rural when I was there, but Burke, Virginia used to feel that way, and now it looks like fucking Los Angeles. So I don't know.
Basically anything with proximity to DC has been booming. I don't know if you know where Bealton is. That was just like a one-horse town, and now they're building luxury condos there.
When I was a kid, Tyson's Corner was a mall that we used to go hang out, and like we would go to movies and like smoke weed and stuff. And now Tyson's Corner is a full-on city.
It's the Emerald City from Wizard of Oz.
It's insane. But dude, it was a mall. It was literally the mall. And then I remember my grandfather, who moved to DC, like whatever, in the 50s or something, was like, there was a man named Tyson who had a farm, literally a dude named Tyson. And that was Tyson's Corner. So it's like, yeah, that whole area is just insane. I mean, it's cool. Like every time I go home, I'm like, oh, cool. There's a subway in the air, some crazy new stuff that's been built. But yeah, it's almost unrecognizable from when I was there.
You're absolutely right. Warrenton was just woods for so long.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Woods is probably really good for ghosts.
It is. And I mean, Virginia as a state, it's all battlefields.
Yeah, I do. I feel like my ghost attack was probably an old colonial foot soldier. They weren't called foot soldiers. That's not the right term for it. But yeah, I feel like he had a gun, but he also had like a pot and a pan tied to the side of his sack or whatever. So here's the deal. First off, definitely was not a ghost. That's number one. Number two is I'm also 100% sure it was a ghost. So it was me, my friend, and this other guy who we were like kind of friends with. He was in our fraternity, but like we just were not as close as this third guy. And then these two girls. One girl was my friend's girlfriend, and the other girl was a girl that I was trying to hook up with. So we were smoking weed at our house. Somebody had a Ouija board. Does anybody want to take this Ouija board into the wood? Like, it's just so like stereotypically dumb. And at the time, like this would have been my junior year of college. So I was 19 or 20. So we go into the woods, and we go like, it's not really the woods. There's like a dirt road, and then there was a street lamp that lit enough, like maybe where you went like 20 feet into the woods. It was still dark, but you could see people's faces. Anybody is listening to this that's in Newport News, Virginia now, I'm sure it looks very different, like we were talking about before with the rest of Virginia. But at the time, it was like they built this housing complex where we lived, and then there was a road going out kind of into nowhere. But then if you kept going, there was another development, like maybe like 100 yards down the road. So it wasn't like a road going to nowhere, but that area hadn't been built up yet. So it was just like weirdly developed, where there was a development, then nothing. And then if you kept going, there would have been another development further down. So it was kind of like in the middle of that. We're in the woods, and we all got in a circle around the stupid Ouija board. And I'm sitting across from the third guy, not my best friend, but the other guy. So I'm looking straight at him. And we're playing Ouija board. Do you play it? It feels like you're playing it. I probably shouldn't say playing it, but we're playing Ouija. And he just like sits up really straight and goes, ow, like out of nowhere. And I look at him. Everybody else kind of stops what they're doing and looks at him. And he just kind of has this look on his face like, I don't know what that was. And about like 4 seconds goes by. Nobody really says anything. And then he just starts literally screaming at the top of his lungs. We're like, what the fuck? And so when we maybe been in there for, I guess, I was high, so it could have been 3 minutes and it felt like an hour, but we'd all gone around the Ouija board once or twice. So we like pull him out of the woods. We're not that far into the woods. We pull him like under where the street lamp was. And the girls are like crying, just like full tears, like they just seen like a family member murdered. And we're trying to calm down the guy. And we're like, we just tell the girls, like, just go back to the house. It's well lit. You're fine. And we just kind of like stand there and we watch the girls like walk back to our place, which maybe was like 30 yards. And once they kind of like get back into the house, we like turn to the guy and he's crying and he's going, it's my back, dude. It's my back. And so me and my friend just pull up his shirt. And it was like, the best way to describe it is if you took a really sharp nail and put it on your forearm and just pulled it down to where your wrist was as hard as you could, like the skin would raise up and then there'd be like kind of blood on the top of that. He had one of those running shoulder blade to shoulder blade. He had another one running in the middle of his back. And then he had a third one going along like the lower part of his back. So like 1, 2, 3 straight lines right across his back and with a little bit of blood raised as if very sharp fingernails on your skin.
Yeah, my mind went to like that gardening tool with the 3 prongs.
Yeah, no,
like
that's exactly like with extra wide depth between the spikes or whatever. I remember we like look at my friend. We immediately put his shirt down. We're like, let's go back to the house. And we drank and smoked more weed and pretend like it didn't happen. Later that night, I gave him a ride home. I probably shouldn't have been driving. I gave him a ride home. And as I'm dropping him off, he's getting emotional again. And he's like, I wouldn't fuck with you guys, right? I would not fuck with you. And I'm like, well, I don't know you that well, but he seemed very genuine in the moment that it wasn't like a trick or something. And I was like, all right, man, look, it's, it's all good. Crazy shit happens, like whatever I said. I went back to the house and that was it. That's the ghost story. And again, I do not believe in ghosts. And whenever somebody brings up ghosts, I roll my eyes and I'm like, that's so dumb. But then I go, also, I did meet a ghost one time. And he's a back scratchy ghost and he attacked my friend in the woods. But besides that ghost, it's clearly not real. And I don't believe in any of that shit. But I don't know. That was the experience. By the way, I've never done a Ouija board or any of that stuff since because I'm just like, yeah, I don't believe in it. But I'm also like, what the hell was that thing that scratched his back? And it was just one of the scariest things ever.
So I will say that almost everyone who's told me a Ouija board story, something doesn't happen every single time, but there's almost always a point where there's an experience you can't explain and then you just make a vow to never think about it or talk about it again.
Yeah, that's the other interesting thing because that girl that I like, we ended up dating for a little bit. And obviously my friend is, he's been my friend for 20 years since that moment. And it's never come up. We've never talked about it. I see them all the time. I'm friends with both of them. But it literally never came up again. And it's like, and yeah, like, I don't know. It's not a ghost. It was a branch or something. But what the fuck, man? Like, it was so goddamn scary. Like, again, not aided by the fact that I was wasted. I mean, I love the way I set it up is like, I'm really drunk and immature and I was horny. And like, everything I'm saying is like, this is not a real story at all. But the way it was on his back, like the marks that were there, I was like, what would have done that in the woods so perfectly in those 3 lines? And again, it was like under his shirt. He was wearing a shirt.
No marks on the shirt itself. So if he got raped walking over there, like it would have been something else.
But here's the thing, like, is it a thing where like maybe if you just think about it hard enough, you can like, you can Jedi mind trick a back scratchy ghost onto yourself. Like maybe there's something like that where you just kind of, I don't know, it's like what, stigmata or something.
There. Yeah, you can mentally like make yourself sick sometimes. I don't know if you can necessarily make like a scratch, but you can definitely produce some kind of redness on your skin.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like the guy that did it, he's a perfectly nice guy. He's a little weird. I will say that. He's a little weird. I don't remember what the reason was that we were hanging out with him that night, but he definitely has like a peculiar way about him. I don't know if that factors into whether or not like if like a ghost is considering he's just hanging out in the woods and he sees some kids doing Ouija board. He's like, who's the weirdest of these? I will attack that one.
It usually is like the person who mentally is like the most frail or most vulnerable. So if he was weird, he had some kind of trauma, or maybe he just wasn't well socially adjusted, that would be the person that something would target.
Yeah. And again, the critical thinker in me is like, or that's the person who would just make it up.
Like,
who wants the attention.
To me, yeah.
Like somehow like the quarterback of the football team who's getting laid by the cheerleader is like, he doesn't get scratched by the ghost. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like if I talk about it for long enough, I'm going to become Catholic again or something and start to repent for my sins. Like here's the thing. I don't want to go back to being religious. I don't want to be a superstitious guy. I definitely think I lean in the direction of like, it's all kind of made up nonsense. But I like I said, my wife says it very well. Like there's always a little bit there where you just go like, why don't fuck with it.
It's probably just easier at the end of the day to be like, that wasn't a shadow I saw walk across the doorway.
Well, the other thing is like, you wouldn't feel I don't feel like you'd feel better if you knew. Yeah. That's the truth. It's like, I don't think you'd feel better if you knew. In the same way that like, when you're religious, like, would you feel better if like, okay, when I was religious, I was Catholic. I was like, oh, when I die, you either go to heaven or you go to hell. Okay, well, that's kind of scary. And then or purgatory. But then I'm thinking like, oh, does that mean I've known people that have died and are currently in hell? To have that, like someone like is able to prove that yes or no, now you know for sure. Okay, if I know for sure, then I'm like, okay, well, everything's meaningless. That's insane. Okay, there's nothing out there. That gives me a feeling of like, oh, I don't think most people could handle knowing if there was no God. And if there is a God and there's a specific religion that's right about it, then you're like, oh, now we all have to do that. And the only reason anybody's being nice is that they can go to this place after they die. That sucks too. It's like now you feel like your life is predestined to do something versus like sometimes there's like an embracing of the idea of I don't know. And there's a freedom in just saying like, I don't know the answer to that. Maybe I'm not meant to know the answer to that. And if there are back scratchy colonial ghosts walking around Newport News, Virginia, maybe I'm better off not being aware of that thing. I know a couple people who like, I don't know what you call them, like not mediums, but like empaths or whatever. And they like feel like they can commune a little bit with people who have died or whatever.
Yeah, they feel like they have spirits around them. They can feel things.
Yeah, I'm just like, so that means we're hanging out at Chipotle and I'm eating and we're having a conversation. And you, at any moment you go, Eric, hang on for a second. Not now, Abraham Lincoln. I'm talking to Eric. Like what? Like just fucking...
Are you supposed to take that at face value? Yeah.
Yeah. And even like, if I think about ghosts, it's like, even the idea of ghosts doesn't make any sense to me because how many are there? What, they just hang out until someone provides, what is this, the sixth sense? Like I'm supposed to help these ghosts express some feeling that they had in this life that they couldn't get out before they died. Like everybody has that. Every single person that dies, no one lives their entire life solving every problem
without any regrets, without any unfinished business.
No, to live a life means you've walked away from a couple relationships like a city burning and you never looked back lest you turn into a pillar of salt. That's what it means to be alive is you just go, well, that was bad. and you get out of there. You don't fucking.
So who's chosen to just linger and be an asshole for the rest of the time? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying is like that whole like somebody has unfinished business. I'm like, yeah, them and the other 108 billion people that have died over the course of human history all had unfinished business.
Well, maybe it's the actual soul, like the consciousness. Maybe it's just an aspect of your life that takes a form. Like the worst breakup you ever had exists as like a ball of something, but that ball takes on a sentience once it's left you.
The other option is that it's just a thing that happened and then it's done. And then there's nothing. But I guess I kind of think of it in terms of like, there's got to be, I feel like there's a little bit of a relief to the idea that it'll be over. Life is hard.
Yeah. Like in 100 years, I and everyone I know will be dead and none of it will have mattered.
Yeah. That was a thing. I think I listened to a podcast with Ray Romano and he said his dad used to say that. That was like his mantra. He'd be like 100 years, all new people. And that's very true. Is like, It's just a whole reset on humanity. Everybody that was alive is just a memory, hopefully, or maybe not at all. So I don't know. I feel like life is hard. I want to live life as long as I can, and get as much as I can out of it. But when it's time to go, I'm like, I'm not banking on an afterlife. That seems like more work.
Just to prepare for a whole nother life.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, like, again, I always just go to like the default Catholic heaven where I'm like, to me, we're in the clouds. You're in the clouds and like you live on a cul-de-sac and everybody's house is a bouncy castle. And it's everybody you've ever known that you liked lives on your street. You get to hang out with them all the time. And you get laid a lot. That's like, and I should say my wife is there. But like when I picture the afterlife, that's where I put myself in. And then I go like, I'd still have to like kind of portion out my time and who I hang out with. And sometimes I'm a little codependent. So it's like, are there people there that like were better friends with me than I was with them? Do they show up on my block sometimes? Is football still there? I like football a lot. Yeah. Are the Eagles a thing in heaven? And if they are, they win the Super Bowl every year. But then what about the other guy that likes the Giants? I'm like, the Giants and the Eagles can't win the Super Bowl every year. So, that means that like, heaven's like earth and there's sometimes the Eagles are going to lose. Yeah, that heaven sucks then. I can't imagine it in any way other than just another version of this life, except I'm in the clouds.
Or is it like only your subjective heaven exists and your needs are filled all day? Everyone is the perfect version of themselves to suit your personal heaven.
Yes, and even that seems like it would get pretty tiring.
Yeah, when does that get boring?
Yeah, and then like you don't die in heaven, so then you just know that you're always gonna live like that. I mean, again, like that sounds like a time loop prison. Like I don't know if you saw Palm Springs. That movie came out a couple years ago
with Andy Samberg.
It's really good. Yeah,
I
watched it. It's great. But yeah, like it's almost like that heaven becomes that now.
Here's the fun thing. How long before you question whether or not that's really heaven?
Yeah, or you're like, maybe I'm in hell. Exactly. Yeah. Or like heaven could be hell and vice versa. There's no place for me to go with it in my mind where I go, oh yeah, sign me up for that. I just go like, you know what? Whatever it's going to be is what it's going to be. If I die and then I'm back in the woods in Newport News and I'm scratching people's backs while they play Ouija board, I'll be like, okay, this is what it is. I'm just going to be a ghost. I'll make the best out of being a ghost. And if it's heaven, then I'll make the best out of being in heaven. And if it's hell, there's probably going to be some pretty good concerts because every musician is in hell for the things they've done on tour. So I feel like no matter what happens, or if it's nothing, then you don't have to worry about it at all. I just kind of feel like, I don't know if it's like secular humanism, but just be like, try to live your life best you can. Try not to hurt people and like just be a good person. And then hopefully that's enough to take care of whatever needs to get taken care of in the afterlife. And if I need to just burn in hell forever because I wasn't able to like sign on to a specific religion, then I guess that's just what it is,
Like it's like, screw you guys anyway. I tried my best.
Yeah, like it just doesn't seem right to pretend to believe something because you're worried about the consequence of not. Feels like you should actually believe it.
Yeah.
And
If there is a God,
I just can't get there.
Does faking it matter to him? If you wasted your gift of life, it's like you're giving up your free will and consciousness to just follow rules. They could be great, they could be horrific, but there's no consciousness in that for you.
Yeah, I mean, do you still consider yourself Catholic, or are you more agnostic now? Where did you land on that stuff?
I think we're in a similar place of like, I'll never be able to divorce myself from the idea of there being a God and having the structure of, good people go to heaven, bad people going to hell. At the end of the day, I'd like to think that there's like an organizing being, or maybe just a system of karma where good things do make you feel better and let you have a more rewarding life, and bad things, lead you into a hell on earth, I don't know if people necessarily need to be punished or rewarded for eternity after life, but
yeah, or people are always like, when I die, I want you to turn me into mulch and then feed me to a beaver who will shit me out. And I'm like, okay, we get it. Just
whatever.
Put me in the ground. Yeah, just fucking burn me up in a box and say something nice about me. Or I'm actually open to being like, to having my funeral on like a cliff that's overlooking the ocean somewhere, and just putting my corpse in like a giant catapult and then launching me into the ocean. I would be open to that, just because I do think there's something hilarious about being launched into the ocean as your final wish. Only halfway joking about that, but I think that might be too much to ask for my loved ones to, just to entertain a thing that I wouldn't even really get to enjoy.
You'd really have to be like hard knuckle with it. Like put something in your will, like you don't get my fortune or you don't get the house if you don't follow these orders exactly.
Well, the funniest thing you said there were the words "my fortune" related to me. I do comedy, dude. I made like $25,000 in the last 8 years doing what I do. But sure.
I mean, you're still doing better than me. I haven't made 1 red cent from the show just yet.
Well, how long have you been doing the show for?
Well, about 4 months.
I mean, dude, first off, you'll never make money on it, but don't take that as a sign to not do it. I'm not trying to, I don't know. I'm giving you unsolicited advice right now. The point of the podcast should be it scratches an itch for you creatively. And as long as it does that, you should do it. When it stops doing that, you either shift it or you stop doing it. But, the thing I've learned, I don't know how old you are. I'm 37. When I started doing comedy, I was 22. So I've been at it for 15 years now. And everybody has like an idea of like how they're going to make it, or this is the avenue to get me to where I want to be and blah, blah, blah. But the truth is I've been doing comedy long enough to know that even the people that made it, like the friends I had that did take off, they still have the exact same doubts about where they are in their career and moving the ball forward for them. Like they worry about falling off and being able to keep up the lifestyle that they have, or having to go back to have a day job. People that have TV shows have to come back and work some bullshit job 3 years later sometimes. It's not like a you made it and then you're set type thing. So the only thing that really matters in the end with creative stuff is just actually enjoying the process of making stuff. And that is the part that matters. Everything I'm saying right now is what people say to themselves when they're 37 and their career hasn't taken off. They start finding, anytime you ask somebody what success is and they go, tell me what you mean by success, that means they're not successful. So that's what I'm displaying right now for myself. But I always tell people with like podcasts and stuff like that, like as long as you're liking it, man, just fucking keep rocking that shit out,
Well, absolutely. I'm not under any delusions. If this never goes anywhere, I mean, I'm not going to regret doing it. But at the same time, I feel like I want to try the things that I've always dreamed about trying. I'd love to put out a poetry compilation. I'd like to write a screenplay for a show. The podcast is just me going crazy during the pandemic and being like, I went to school for creative writing. I always thought I was going to do something fun and important. So I need to start doing some of my crazy ideas, or I'm just going to be on my deathbed like, fuck, all that time, and I didn't try one of them.
Well, there you go, man. I mean, that's fucking awesome. I remember when I wanted to move to New York, start doing comedy, and my parents were like very against it. When I graduated college, I was 21, and they were like, "You need to get a job." What are you talking about? Like they were very worried and not super supportive. But my 4 grandparents, I was lucky that they were all alive and in my life. Literally, all 4 of them were like, "Go to New York, do it." And that's because they were a little bit closer to shaking hands with the devil. And they were like, both my grandparents on my mom and my dad's side, or my grandfathers, gave me like real life examples from their life of things that they hadn't done, that they wish they did, that they thought about a lot. And they were like, if this is going to be that thing for you, go do it now. Now's the time to do it. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So that, I remember that being very powerful at the time from both of them. And I don't know. I don't even know if my parents know that their parents gave me that advice, but all four of them did in their own way.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Did you start off like pursuing the dream and then fall back on a day job, or have you always had the day job but also pursued the dream?
I pretty much always had a day job. There was a period in New York where I was booking commercials a lot. And so that plus being an improv teacher, which is kind of like I was doing improv until I was like 27, 28 in New York. So I hit a streak for about 2 years where I didn't have to punch a clock. Like I got to teach at night, which I liked. And I got to go on auditions for commercials and I was booking them a lot. And I was like, wow, look at this. I was making a pretty decent living, not having a real true day job.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like things shift. They made a decision on TV that they were like, every couple will be interracial, which is great. But I was like, that wasn't great.
That's not me.
That wasn't great for me. So a lot of those opportunities started to go by the wayside. And then at the same time, I kind of got a little sick of improv and wasn't feeling very creatively motivated to do it anymore. I really wanted to do more stand-up. So I started to walk away from the teaching a little bit more. And so just doing that alone, I was like, oh, well, back to the day job. And I was right back into trying to find some sort of career companion for myself so I could still do comedy at night. But yeah, I mean, even that 2-year run was awesome. And I was very lucky to have it. A lot of people don't get to have that. So I was happy for it. And then even since then, like now I just understand that like I work my day job. When I'm done, I go do comedy at night. That's my grind. When I get a little success or a win or something big does happen in my career and I have to take off work, I use my vacation for a week and a half and I go work on a project or shoot something or go on tour for a little bit. Those are awesome moments that I appreciate. I appreciate them because I still have to go back to that day job.
Yeah.
And I think you like when you start, you're in your head, you're like, I'm going to be a young success story, you know, like I'm going to be one of those young guys that just takes off. And like around like 3 years ago, I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not young. I'm 30. I'm in my mid 30s. It's not going to be me. I'm not going to be that young guy. I'm going to be a guy that works. And, you know, when I do get my opportunities, I get to step away from the day job for a little bit. And, you know, I will say like the thing that's really fun now is that a lot of those like network type opportunities don't exist anymore, at least not in the way that they used to. So now you have to go online and you really have to find people that like your comedy and build a fan base. And if you can find 10,000 people that are like, yo, every time Erick puts something out, I'm going to buy it. Like just diehard fans, that can be your career for the rest of your life. You can tour with that. You can put out comedy specials with that. You can live off that. So I think that's kind of what I've settled into in the last year or so. It took moving to LA to realize that I should have just been online the whole time. And now that is what I do. Like my day is like, I go do comedy. I cut up clips of my comedy, put them online. I try to do shows. I put in little packets for things I'd be excited to write on when those opportunities come around. But I feel like very focused in that, you know, every time somebody writes to me and they're like, I found this new social media thing called Clapper. It's like a middle-aged version of TikTok. It's kind of like a janky platform. But you know what? It's like, there's no kids on it. Everybody's like 30 and up, which is like more my user base. I just started posting on there 2 weeks ago. I have like 500 followers on Clapper. And I've got people that comment on my stuff and they're like, post every day, man. This is great. And I'm just like, oh, if I do that enough on different things, if I do that on YouTube, if I do that on
if you strike out and search, you're going to find your audience.
All it is like, you have to just be willing to kind of put yourself out there. That is Hollywood now. That is the industry now. It's like nobody fucking knows how to get ahead anymore. There is no real path for anyone. And even when you think you've made it, you haven't. The real thing is just to have a couple thousand people that fucking love you. And if you have that and you have a way to get to them directly and you don't need a middleman, then that's it. That's your career. That's what you build.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been How to Have a Successful Career from a guy with no money. This is a seminar that I run where I give advice on things I haven't yet done myself in life. And I think it's valuable to hear that from someone who hasn't accomplished it yet.
But if I could give my perspective, I think it's rewarding in and of itself to have like a thing that you work on all the time and you're just always looking for the next way to make it a little bit better. Whether it actually parlays into something you can live your entire life off of, whether or not you get rich and famous, it's just finding a way to live a life where you can always try to do what you want to.
Yeah, that's a thing too. I was reading about where it's like the death of hobbies. I don't know, what do you call the economy where it's just based on little gigs? It's like the gig economy, maybe? That might
I think like they refer to like DoorDash and stuff like the gig economy.
Yeah, or Uber or any of those things. 30 years ago, you might have had a hobby where you like carved animals out of oak and gave them as gifts to people. And now if you do that, someone's like, oh, you should start an Etsy store and you call it Barely There or whatever. And you have like bears, whatever. Like you're supposed to find
your kitschy fun name. Yeah.
Yeah. You're supposed to like find a way to monetize it. And it's like, what if it's just your hobby? What if it's just a thing you like to do for your friends that fills you with joy while you're doing it?
Yeah. And that's kind of, I don't know if you saw that movie Soul. Pixar,
no,
I think, put it out. It's a whole thing about life and reincarnation, but they're saying like the thing that you're great at in your life doesn't need to be your purpose. It can just be the thing you love and enjoy, and living a life where you don't become a famous musician because you like the trumpet, or you don't become a famous artist because you like to draw. That's still a good life. Enjoy that life.
Yeah. And even just like the idea of being famous, it's like you want to be famous until you don't have any more anonymity left. There's always a double-edged sword to that stuff where you're like, oh, now I got it. Now I can't go to the grocery store anymore. Or people bother me all the time.
Yeah. There's that famous like Bill Murray quote. It's like, if you want to be rich and famous, try just being rich and see if that doesn't solve all of your problems.
Yeah. Maybe you don't need the famous part. Youth culture is about to take a hit because they're about to get rid of TikTok.
Right before I was able to market on it.
TikTok's days are numbered, man. I look, it's got to happen. It's literally Chinese spyware on our phones.
It does, but that just means that Zuckerberg or somebody's going to develop an American version that's slightly less insidious.
That's why everybody's got to join Clapper, not just because I have 500 followers on Clapper, but because it's an American way to make yourself a moron.
In a year or two, you might be like a couple million followers, and I'll be trying to call you for an interview, and you're just like, fuck you, dude. I'm going on Rogan next week.
No, dude. I'll tell Joe Rogan to suck my dick. I'll be like, I have an appointment on horror podcast. What's the name of your
the
podcast?
Homeland Horror Podcast.
Yeah. First thing is I'll learn the name of this podcast, and then I will turn down Joe Rogan.
Or maybe I'll be on Rogan.
Maybe you will. Who knows, man? Like
it's that gray area we were talking about. Maybe God exists. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Santa's real. Maybe we just aren't believing hard enough.
Crazier things have happened than your podcast taking off. That's for sure. What are we talking? Weren't we supposed to talk about ghosts? Maybe that's where a lot of the ghosts come from. Is it's just people who were blithely murdered for not being able to fit in well with the rest of the people in their tiny group.
Yeah, they just get to be assholes stuck outside of time, making life hard for people.
Yeah, I mean, they're still being difficult as ghosts. So very few ghosts are like very helpful with things. You're like,
but do we know that for a fact? You know what I mean? Like maybe
you're saying like maybe
that's what luck is, you know?
Or you're cooking in the kitchen and you like the pot's about to boil over and the ghost comes over and lowers the temperature.
Yeah,
there's just a ghost who's like helping you out a little bit and just kind of keeping an eye. You know, like the baby's putting his hand in the dog's mouth and the ghost just comes and politely separates the baby and the dog for a moment until you re-enter the room. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that'd be great. If
how would you ever be able to know? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you really wouldn't unless the ghost is like making a big to-do about it. And like writing you like passive aggressive letters.
Being dead probably sucks.
There might even be other ghosts who like when you start doing a Ouija board, they're just like, oh fuck. And then like Bill's like, I'll go. And you're like, Bill, would you just fucking chill, dude? You've done the last 8 Ouija boards. Why don't you just let the kids fucking play? But there's probably always one ghost that's just gotta fucking put his shit in the middle of everything. That's probably what it is. It's probably insufferable to even the other ghosts. It's probably very similar to just life. There's people that are chill and cool and normal. And then there's some fucking assholes. And the assholes, I think, are the ones that like haunt things and, you know, they let you know how bad their life was. It's like, shut up, dude. What am I going to do to help you find closure because your dad hit you? Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't even know your dad.
Cowboy up.
Yeah. If you, I mean, cowboy up. I mean, your life is over. Like, enjoy the fact that it's over. I just don't. That's why, again, afterlife just seems like a big hassle. You still got to be worrying about the things that happened to you in this life. When does the relief come in? At some point, you got to feel relief.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I laughed so much during our conversation.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. Good luck with the pod moving forward. Definitely let me know when the episode drops.
Absolutely, man. I'll tag you where I can.
I'm going to plug one app at a time. You can find me on Twitter at Erick Hellwig. You can find me on Instagram at Erick Hellwig. You can find me on YouTube also at Erick Hellwig. TikTok for as long as that survives. Probably not much longer, though. I feel like TikTok's going to be gone soon. Don't even bother following me on TikTok. You follow me on Facebook at Erick Hellwig. Clapper. You can follow me at Erick Hellwig. And I will say this, if people go to my YouTube, I have an old podcast. I'm going to be bringing it back in a little bit, probably like another month. But yeah, you can like check out my old podcast and as well as like my stand-up clips and stuff like that. So YouTube is probably the best place to follow me if you want to be getting all my content.
Yeah, YouTube is pretty much the best place to put like clip comedy nowadays.
Of all the bullshit that people are doing now, I feel like YouTube is the thing that's going to last the most because it's just videos of things. It's the best place to go. It's so much easier to navigate than like, a fucking Instagram or something like that. Speaking of Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at Erick Hellwig. Guys, I was able to secure Erick Hellwig for there's not a lot of Erick Hellwigs out there, so I was able to find it. All right, dude. Talk to you later.
Take it easy, man. Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy, everybody. It's me, your host, Danny. And I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your #1 source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.